And our next speaker is from the Government Digital Service. Our first GDS speaker, it's Ganesh Senthi.
Oh, that's not good.
That's,
I'll use this one.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is my first live talk, so bear with me. I'm going to talk about how we're using, how we use machine learning to help users find content. The too long didn't read version of this is that we use machine learning to add related links for 98% of content on GovUK that didn't have one previously. Essentially, we built a recommendation engine for content. This is all brand new to everyone in the team, so there's lots of room for improvement if you spot it, and we would like to hear all your feedback, of course. That's it. So I'm going to go through it and we'll talk about what's the problem, how we evaluated the machine learning algorithms, how we productionized it, quality control, rollback options, and next steps. So what was the problem we were trying to solve? On GovUK, we have a number of different navigational aids to help users find the content they need. One of these navigational aids is related links. As you can see, it's just links that allow users to, that we provide users to help them with their onward journey, but we also have other sort of navigational aids such as the search bar, the header, the breadcrumb, and the footer. So let's delve into some statistics. As I mentioned, 98% of all our content has no related links. That's over about 400 pieces of content we have on GovUK. And this mainly relates to what we call the long tail of content. So this is kind of the 30% of content that GovUK has that doesn't get regular high traffic. Around 2% of content on GovUK has related links. These are the highest traffic pages we have, and it represents over about 70% of all visits to GovUK. They're very service orientated, so getting your driving license, getting a divorce, applying for a visa, those sort of things that help users carry on with their daily lives. So why does this matter? So from observation and analytics, we know that good related links help shorten journeys. It means users can get to the content they need faster. Also, just generally, dead ends are not very helpful for users. We should always be trying to help a user get to what they want, especially with a content estate that's nearly over 450,000 bits of content. The chances of them landing on something that is not quite what they want is fairly high. So with this in mind, we decided to investigate machine learning. So I'm going to talk about how we evaluated the machine learning algorithms. I won't go into too much detail about each algorithm, but I'm more than happy to talk about it afterwards. Over the course of 8 weeks, we ran 4 A/B experiments, which tested 3 different algorithms. I say 4 because the first one we did was known as an AA test, so we can test whether there was any sort of false positives in what we were seeing in traffic, and then we based everything on that. Our metrics for success were an increase in clicks on related links and a decrease in clicks on navigational elements. We say a decrease in clicks because navigational elements are signs that a user may be lost or trying to iterate their journey, orientate themselves. A/B test consisted of 2 parts: comparing the algorithm, the links generated from the algorithm with the 2% that are human curated, and the effect of adding related links to pages without any. We then measured how users interact with these links and the site to determine which algorithms were the most relevant for users. For those interested, we tested 3 algorithms known as content similarity. Essentially what this did is just scan text and compared the aboutness of a text with another text. Know to vet, which kind of use a graph model and BigQuery data, analytics data, and log likelihood ratio, which just computes how often 2 pages co-occur in the same journey, and it largely uses Google Analytics. This is kind of the results. The top left is how they perform. So going from the left, the red is what we have. Then content similarity, node to vec, and LLR and the top two. As you can see, all algorithms decreased interaction with search in the top right. They decreased user interaction with other navigational elements like breadcrumbs. And there was a marginally increased journey length for users, which seems to suggest they are find it useful. We chose, though, even though LLR performed the best, we chose node to vec. Reason being, node to vec is a traditional machine learning algorithm, so you need to train it. It allows us to tweak it a lot better. And yeah. So how do we productionize it? So this is the most challenging part, really, because nobody in the team had any experience of productioning any sort of machine learning. So this was like completely brand new to everyone in the team. So we had to make a lot of trade-offs and decisions as we went along. But we had to create, essentially it broke down into two parts. We had to create the data science pipeline, and we had to get those links into GovUK. I won't go into too much detail, but I just took a picture of what our data science pipeline is. It's basically get everything from Google Analytics, match it with everything that we have, how we've modeled GovUK, run it through the algorithm, and output a CSV or a JSON file. Quality control was big. So one of the main risks for us is that we don't predict any bad links, really. So what we did is we outputted a spreadsheet, and every iteration we had content designers reviewing each iteration of it to check that we weren't saying anything that we shouldn't have been. But we've also coded up sometimes. So here, the link ingestion only runs a couple of days after we've done the manual checks. Rollback options, obviously, if anything was to go wrong, we've just kind of separated it. So we've got curated links at the top, and we've created our own sort of property to have ingest our computer one. That means we can toggle it from this to this if we would suggest something that was bad or controversial or politically not correct. The last thing is just what we're going to do next. So they went live today, which is really good. It's been 6 months of work, and it will automatically run after every 3 weeks. We'll monitor our existing metrics, we'll examine journey level data, and we will iterate the pipeline and the algorithm as we go across the coming months. Thank you. 10 seconds to spare.
Thank you very much. Huge amount of ground covered there, thank you. And
Yeah,
I think if you're following us on Twitter, you can see some of those sort of live links in action. I spent much longer today looking at Vale of Cloyd Denbigh plums, which is a protected food characteristic than I thought I ever would. Any questions? There's lots to think about there. So we've got one at the back.
I'll ask two then.
Okay.
You mentioned controversial or non-PC suggestions that you had to weed out by hand. Have you got a favourite? And more seriously, working with something like Node to Vec, that presumably gives you a measure of similarity between lots of different pages. Have you spotted any redundancies within the GovUK site of resources which are very, very similar, or pages that are very, very similar and don't need to be?
Okay. Your first question, I will answer when I'm not on the record. With regards to duplicate content, I think that's what we say, have we noticed any duplicate content as it weeded out? Yeah, I think we at GovUK are aware that we do have duplicate content, and it's a known problem we do have. The Node to Vec is helped with finding what those could be. But the first algorithm we used, which was content similarity, was a Google algorithm that looked at the text in the header the main body, the title, and that's been a lot more useful for like comparing content and suggesting how similar it is. It gives it a score of basically take this content, match it against all the estate, and then it gives a score of like from 1 to 0 of how similar it is. So that's something we're looking to progress further over the coming months.
Great. We've got a question over there. Any others in this round? And we've got another one down the front. Let's go for those two next.
Hi. Are you worried that your algorithm might become a victim of its own success by becoming self-reinforcing if too many people use related links and that sort of dominates the training data?
Yeah, and as a measure of success, not just of the algorithm, but of gov.uk itself, are you more interested in the quality of the interaction that the customer or user has, or the sort of the volume, the amount of reach that you're getting? Because there seems to be quite a lot of debate about that at our place at the moment, and it's a bit difficult to get clarity.
Thank you.
Yes, self-reinforcing algorithms. I think totally. Yeah, as it went live today, we're not sure how it's going to pan out. We're going to train it on 3 weeks of BigQuery data each week. We hope, because it's based on what users are actually doing on our site, so we've created something called a functional network, which is basically a network of how people are traversing gov.uk in kind of real-time way, that we hope that because every 3 weeks users are always coming in doing something different, that hopefully it should change the links, but there's always a risk of self-reinforcing itself, and I guess we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. Success, quality versus reach. I think gov.uk is all about quality. We want to provide users with the content they need rather than trying to reach loads of people. So we are interested in, for example, in regards to related links, is our metric success was click-throughs and decrease in sort of things that may suggest that they are lost or trying to find a way to something else. And we're going to look at how we can journey level things. So what does a person do after they've clicked a related link? Because that might suggest that the related link's not useful. If 2 pages down the line they are going to search, we might have made their journey a lot worse. So yeah, I think quality definitely over reach.
Excellent. Any more questions? Oh. Got 2 over there. Fantastic.
This may be a bit half-baked, if so I apologise. Kevin McConway, I'm at the Open University. I'm a statistician, but actually this came into my head because of my own experience as a user of gov.uk. Is there anything built on your system which may feed back to the people who design the services that gov.uk provides to simplify and avoid redundancy in those services, thus helping the user journey from another point of view?
Hi, Rosie from, I'm also a civil servant. I was going to ask whether the name of the related link is just the title of the page, in which case, how do you choose the length of that link? Is there a limit? And in which case, if this becomes a more widely used system, will this, do you think, lead to a standardization of what you can call pages on gov.uk so that they can also be used as related links?
Thank you.
And there was one more, was there? Oh. So I will answer. So your question was around whether do we provide feedback to those who create services to help them better their services? Yeah. We have an entire team that works on services, and that's the 2% of content, the 2% I mentioned, which is only about about around 4,000 pages, I think. And that team is very, very experienced in helping people, in helping feedback to where services could be improved. We also have new things called like step-by-steps, which is teams that are working with service teams in cross departments and helping them structure their service into like steps. So for example, if you're getting your driving license, it tells you go get your provisional, go get your driving. So we're actively working with service teams to improve the services that citizens use. Does that answer? So the title, it is the title of the page at the moment. We have content design rules and a content design team that have been that do monitor what publishers write in their titles. There's no like steadfast rules, and we trust that publishers are doing things by the service manual and the content design manual. So.
Excellent. Unless there's a very, very, very quick final question. Ganesh, thank you very much.
Thank you.